This is The Process Shot. I'm Michael, I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I've seen History of Civilization, a short drama from Kazakhstan made back in 2020, directed by Zhannat Alshanova. It follows a teacher named Indira and her last day at her school, having chosen to pack up and move out of the country to London. Of course, this isn't a decision she's able to just up and make without anybody else knowing, and as her last conversations among friends and acquaintances take place, she's given a number of opinions, some judgmental and others more wistful, all of which make her reflect upon just what she'll be leaving behind when she goes. The movie is a bit subtle when it comes to this idea, presenting the story in a minimalist style, which generally cuts events down to the most essential elements and conversation lines. It makes for a pretty dialogue-heavy movie, though ironically the writing does continue to play things a bit subtly, resulting in a movie that doesn't actually tell you all that much about what is going on, and leaving you to infer the rest on your own. It's not impossible to comprehend, but it can be a bit much if you aren't quite as focused as you ought to be. Obviously, it's more of a character piece in the long run, as we get to see Indira through her last day, finding out how appreciated she is by others and how some of them aren't quite ready to let her go. It's a pretty thorough gamut of reactions, from apathetic or surprised to somber and defensive, a sort of microcosm of what anybody in her position might go through. The only real downside in all of this is that there isn't much else to the film as a result. There's no real narrative outside of watching Indira's last day in town, nor does much happen beyond talking with others. There's certainly a nice amount of cinematography being put to work, with a muted, neutral palette of colors that helped sell the coldness of this city, though it doesn't offer anything much to contrast this position. Visually, the movie is as minimalist as the story, keeping most shots pretty still, seemingly dependent more on Indira's comfort levels, but I couldn't tell you for certain. I can say that the minimalism is also present in the film's editing, foregoing most cuts in favor of long, steady takes that highlight a mundane sense of normalcy, as if everything we see Indira going through is pretty normal to her, and now there are no more surprises, even from her friends. The movie does quite a bit to convince us that moving on would be a nice change of pace for her, but it does also take the time to show what she'll be missing once she goes. It's really kind of a mixed message in that way, but for the most part the character story is what's most important, and it's less about why she's leaving, but what her leaving means to herself and others. Or something like that anyways. History of Civilization, Zhannat Alshanova, 2020. 3.5 stars. I'd say that it's worth watching. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you have something to add, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. I will admit that I'm not sure what the title means, at least in regards to the story going on. I'm gonna assume it's a metaphor, though. Most titles end up being metaphors.